So my name is Ashley Schowengerdt. I am the Director of Communications for Delta Upsilon, and I have been on staff for the last 5 years, but have spent the last 14 years doing fraternity sorority communications. And so today I'm going to be talking about how chapters can leverage social media for chapter operations. And so what we'll cover today, I'll go over some general social media tips, and that includes tips for planning and for posting itself, and then some best practices that we've seen from the last year, particularly in the areas of recruitment, philanthropy, and campus involvement. And so some of the things chapters have been doing over the past year that will be good for us to continue to do moving forward. They'll just enhance the in-person events that we're going to have, hopefully, moving forward. And so just kind of to kick right in, we'll just talk about some general social media tips. And so really the first big one I have is just to know your target audiences. And so knowing these is going to be really important as chapters post and to make their plans accordingly. So I think a lot of times we see chapters that post and they really only think about the current members that they have and not everyone who follows their social media accounts. And so outside of just your current chapter members, folks following our chapter social media accounts include other campus fraternities and sororities, other folks on campus, and that can include our members' friends and even potential members, our alumni and parents. And I think those are probably the biggest audiences we have from our chapter accounts. And so recognizing that those people all follow our accounts and making sure that we're giving them content that is related to them. And so I'm not saying that you have to post specifically for all of these audiences all the time, but remembering that they're there and then every once in a while giving a post that shows a particular audience some love. I think one example that I see is I sometimes see chapters making inside jokes on some of their posts. And so these typically tend to happen on Brother of the Week posts or birthday spotlights or whatever. And so while members might see those and think it's funny, it's having to step back and think, is everyone who follows our account, are they going to understand what we're saying, or are they maybe going to misconstrue some of the things that we're saying? And so being cognizant of that and knowing that there is a way to have a lighthearted tone without making any of your other followers feel like they're missing out on some sort of an inside joke. So kind of steering away from some of those things. And then, like I said, posts don't have to cater to every one of these audiences all the time, but every once in a while, making a post that is targeted to one of these areas. So you don't have to have a post geared directly towards parents every week, but having one once or two times a semester is really going to go a long way in making them feel like they're recognized and seen, and getting some buy-in from them as well. Next step is to make a plan. And I think that it's really helpful for chapters to have some sort of a calendar to help manage when and what they're going to post. And so on the screen, I have a screenshot of the calendar that I use at Asana for the International Fraternity when it comes to both our social media and our email. And so I think for me, it's been really beneficial to have as I work with other folks on staff to schedule things that they would like to see get pushed out. I think this can really work well on the chapter level as well. So whether it's your social media chairman, your VP external relations, or someone else on your social media team, to make sure that they're not forgetting anything and to make sure that other officers and other chapters or other officers and other committee members know when things are going to get pushed out. When making a plan like this, I think the first big suggestion is to start with your big ticket items. So go ahead and put formal recruitment week on the calendar, put your philanthropy events on the calendar, service projects, initiation, homecoming, and any sort of campaign that the chapter might do. Start with those things. So for example, for about a campaign, the fraternity, we do Flag Friday every Friday. So you can see on that calendar every Friday, Flag Friday shows up. So if your chapters are doing something like that, if they do a new member welcome every Tuesday, put that on there every Tuesday. Some chapters are doing sort of a hashtag why do you Wednesday. Put that on your calendar every Wednesday. Start with those big ticket items and then fill in from there. I think that it's a good idea for your VP External Relations to bring this calendar to executive board meetings. So the other folks in charge of leading the chapter can kind of see what's going on, and it's going to help them plan accordingly as well. I have a feeling that a lot of times other chapter officers are going to our social media team and saying, hey, post this for us today, not knowing what else is on the calendar and what the social media team has going on. So I think sharing this calendar with them will help them plan accordingly. And then it'll also help your social media team be able to say, hey, I can't do it today, but I can post it on Thursday. I've got an opening, and why don't we do it then as well? So I think just in terms of long-term planning, making sure people aren't forgetting anything, having a sort of calendar is going to be really important. And so, as I said, I use ours through Asana. It does not have to be through a project management tool like that. It's really easy to put together calendars in a Google Calendar, Google Docs, or even Excel. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something that is going to organize those events for your chapter. Next thing I want to talk about is identifying the platforms that you're going to use. Chapters don't have to be on all platforms all of the time, especially if you think that they're going to neglect them. So I think that there was a time when we assumed chapters should be on all of the big 3 social media platforms. So have a Facebook, have an Instagram, have a Twitter. And then we came to find 2 years down the road, a chapter had a Twitter account they've not used in 2 years, or maybe don't even know the password to. So if a chapter is going to have an account on a platform and then neglect it, it's best just not to be on that platform at all. And so I will say each chapter, each campus is going to be different. So really take a look at what is going to work well for your chapter and where your audiences are. I see some chapters, for whatever reason, do really well with Twitter because for whatever reason, that's where their campus is, that's where their students are, that's where their alumni are. And so they do really well on Twitter. But for the most part, not so much. Our chapters don't really do much with Twitter. And so I think that if that's not going to be used appropriately, let's go ahead and let's delete those accounts. Let's not even bother about creating a Twitter account if we don't think it's going to be used appropriately very often, if it's going to reach the type of people that we want to reach. I will say a lot of chapters are neglecting their Facebook pages, and I think Facebook and Twitter are a little bit different, where I would say if you're not using your Twitter, go ahead and get rid of your Twitter account. I don't necessarily suggest that for Facebook, because that is where a bulk of your alumni and maybe your parents are going to be. So that is a platform that's going to be really beneficial for you to reach some of those audiences. And I think a lot of our chapters aren't utilizing their Facebook very much because, as we see, Gen Z just isn't on Facebook. And if they are on Facebook, it's because they're in a Facebook group for their chapter or maybe a class, but they're getting on and they're logging into that group, but they're not posting to their accounts. They're not monitoring their feeds. They're not using Facebook as I am as a 36-year-old woman, as you might be maybe as an advisor. But as I said, this is a really valuable platform to be on because it's going to reach those alumni and it's going to reach those parents. And so I think an easy way for chapters to start to post to Facebook a little bit more is to use some cross-posting between their Instagram and their Facebook. And so not every post that a chapter has needs to be posted on Instagram and on Facebook. Chapters can decide for themselves what's going to be the most beneficial. If the post is really geared towards current members or people on campus, maybe just post it on Instagram. But if it's something that we think that the alumni are going to like, would be interested in, post it in both places as well. And so there were some pretty easy ways to do this cross-posting. Since Facebook owns Instagram, it's really easy just from your Instagram app to click a button and say, yeah, share this to Facebook as well. So just like you can on your personal account, if chapters have their Facebook page connected to their Instagram account, really easy, just click of a button, it pushes it to Facebook as well. I think being able to then go back into Facebook and monitor those posts is really important. So making sure the social media team isn't just posting on Facebook and then forgetting about it, but making sure that they're going back, if anyone's commenting, asking questions, that they're engaging that way, and not just, like I said, posting and forgetting about it. And so you can cross post, like I said, on Instagram straight to Facebook, but there are also a couple different avenues where you can use to cross post. And so having Facebook own Instagram is actually pretty helpful in a lot of ways. So you can use Facebook Business Manager or Facebook Creator Studio. And so that's outside of the normal facebook.com website, or they have their own separate apps as well. But so you can go to Facebook Business Manager or Creator Studio, and you can create posts for both Facebook and Instagram there, and then have it push out to either platform. You can also schedule posts through it as well. So the Instagram app does not have a native post scheduler, but you can schedule posts to Instagram through Facebook Business Manager or Facebook Creator Studio. So really easy. You upload the photo one time, you put in a caption, you click, share it to both Facebook and Instagram. Really easy to do it that way. You can also monitor your likes, your comments, all those sorts of things through those two platforms as well. So making it really easy not to have to switch back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. They don't have to log necessarily into Facebook to be able to check those notifications if they don't want to. They can go through it that way. There are also some third-party apps that also help you cross-post, and those include Later, Hootsuite. Those are kind of the two big popular ones, but there are some other ones out there as well. And so the international fraternity, we use Later to schedule our posts. So you can kind of see on the screen a screenshot of what our Later account looks like. So through it, I can post to DU's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter account, all from one location, and I can schedule those posts out. And so I upload our photos into there, can create captions, can schedule all of that through that platform. I will say that Later and Hootsuite and other types of third-party apps, sometimes they do have a free version, sometimes it's a paid version. I think we paid $12 a month to have this Later account, that is really helpful for me, going to one place, schedule everything from one spot. There's the desktop version that I have the screenshot of. There's also an app as well. Later also lets you schedule Instagram stories, which is really nice. You can't schedule Facebook stories through Later, which is interesting. But being able to schedule stories through there is pretty nice as well. One of the things that I like about the Later account that DU has is to utilize their link in bio function. And so chapters do not have to use Later by any means, but like I said, I do like their link in bio feature. So if you're familiar with Instagram, you know that it is pretty hard to schedule posts or schedule links to Instagram. So you can't hyperlink a URL and a caption, and you need 10,000 followers in order to have that swipe up option in your Instagram stories. So on every Instagram profile, if you go to the actual page, there's a link for a website. So a lot of our chapters and the international fraternity used to do this as well. Every time we had something we wanted to link, we had to go in and we had to manually change that URL to whatever we wanted to post. And so it made it pretty difficult at times, one, remembering to do that, and two, if we're posting something in the morning that had a link, and then in the afternoon needed to post something else that had a different link, that first link went away, and it was hard to go back and find those. So using Later, we have access to their link in bio feature, and so there's a screenshot of what that looks like on the screen. So if you go to the DU Instagram profile page, you click on that website link, it's going to pull up this page, and it's going to pull up every post that we have that is hyperlinked to something all in one place. Those past links don't go away. It's really easy just to have them all in one place. We don't have to manually change those URLs out every time. So we use that through Later. There are other options. Linktree is an option. Link in profile is another option. There are several ways to kind of beef up your link in bio sorts of things on Instagram. And so then as you're posting, you can just say, see link in bio, and then they can go to your profile, click the link, and then take it to one of these pages. That's really going to organize all of your links in one place and not get rid of any of the links that you've had. General posting tips that I want to share before we move on into best practices is to utilize live stream events. So live streaming things like initiation. Lots of chapters were doing this before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, we've seen an influx in chapters doing that. And I think that's really great, especially as a non-secret fraternity, letting people in and to see those sorts of things. So you can live stream all sorts of things. Initiation, associate member ceremonies, philanthropy events, service projects, anything like that, but utilizing those live stream capabilities is great. One that seems simple, but utilizing hashtags, really going to make it easier for people to follow your account and to find your account if they're not following you. So I would suggest finding what popular campus hashtags your university uses. So if you go to Purdue, hashtag boiler up, put that on every one of your posts. Whatever hashtag your campus uses, utilize those hashtags. So then if someone is searching that hashtag that is either looking to go to school on your campus, currently goes to school there, they're going to find some of your content there as well. And then be consistent with the hashtags that you're using. So if you look at DU social media, on pretty much every post, you'll see hashtag building better men, hashtag we are DU, hashtag Dakayo Yupatheka, and then other hashtags that might pertain to the particular posts that we post. So utilizing hashtags seems really simple, but it's something that a lot of people forget to do. Another one is just to repost content from the international headquarters or other members. And so your social media team does not have to come up with every post that you guys have on their own. They can go to members, screenshot, share things that they're posting. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can kind of cross-post and share some of those posts from their members, and then also from the international fraternities account. So if we're posting, about a certain holiday, another group's founding date, if it's National Hazing Prevention Week and we have a post there, chapters, again, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can screenshot that, they can share it, they can use it on their own. There's no need for them to have to reinvent the wheel every time. Definitely cross-post, reshare that stuff. And same from organizations on campus. Share from your IFC, share from admissions, whatever. Don't feel like you have to create all new content every time. The North Florida chapter, I will say, does a really good job of reposting things from the International Fraternities account. And I think that in the last year, it's really beefed up their social media presence and given them more to talk about. So for example, we do Tuesday tips on most Tuesday on our Instagram story. And almost every Tuesday, the North Florida chapter has screenshot that and put it on their Instagram story as well. So it's giving them some extra content to use on their accounts. And I think that that's a really great idea. And I'm glad that they're doing that. Next thing, really easy, engage with others by liking and commenting. Again, don't just post and forget about it. If someone comments on your post, the chapter should go back and be liking those comments or commenting back. Also going through their feeds and liking and commenting on things that their members are doing, other fraternities and sororities on campus are doing. Don't just post, really engage, be involved, be an active participant in social media. And then I would say to utilize Delta Upsilon's brand guides as well. And so we've got on our website at deltau.org, it's under the resources tab under branding and insignia. There's a document called the Brand and Visual Identity Guidelines. So in this, it's just a simple document. It's going to give chapters what the official DU blue, gold colors are, information on how to use logos properly, fonts, all that sort of thing. It is all there on the website. It's just going to help our chapters be consistent with their posts, kind of mirror the international fraternity a little bit. That resource is there. I suggest that chapters look at it and use it. Also on that same page of the website, chapters can download logos and marks that the fraternity has as well, that they are free to download and use on their own. I will say that on the website, there are two versions of each file. There's a JPEG version and there's a PNG version. The JPEG version, so if you see on the screen, there's the main Delta Upsilon logo there with the white box around it. Anything that is a JPEG is going to have that white box behind it. Anything that's a PNG is going to have a transparent background like the other three logos on the screen. So just having chapters be aware of the difference between those two files, and that it's going to look a little cleaner and crisper, that if you're using a colored background, like I have a gray background on this Instagram slide or PowerPoint slide, that it's going to not have that white box and maybe look a little crisper and cleaner. If there's any logo on the website that maybe a chapter needs a different file format of, if they're looking for a different sort of logo, they can email me directly, or they can email ihq@deltau.org, and we are happy to help them with whatever need that they may have in sort of getting them those graphics. So kind of moving forward into best practices, I think we've seen chapters in the last year really utilize social media for different areas of chapter operations. Since we're not been able to meet in person and have those face-to-face connections, social media has been really important. And so I'm going to start with talking about recruitment and spend a lot of our time talking about this area as opposed to the other two areas that I'm going to talk about, because I think that this is the biggest area for growth and improvement for chapters in the next year, is to really utilize social media to help supplement their recruitment efforts. So during and post-pandemic, recruitment is going to be more important than ever. And so needing to show people the value of fraternity and that there is ROI in fraternity membership in this new environment. And so like 365 recruitment, where we want guys to recruit every day of the year, really a year-long social media strategy builds brand awareness and buy-in 365 and continually promotes DU. So it's a part of that recruitment, that 365 recruitment kind of strategy and philosophy. And so just like we tell chapters that they shouldn't just think about recruitment in the week or 2 weeks leading up to formal recruitment, chapters shouldn't be talking about or thinking about recruitment on social media just during recruitment time. They should be thinking about it all year round. And so there are things that chapters can do throughout the year to kind of promote recruitment. I think as chapters have shifted to virtual and hybrid recruitment models, last year social media, like I said, has been really important to reach potential members and to promote DU, and this work really should continue as we move forward. And so the first really easy thing chapters can do is just promote their events with graphics. And so we've got two examples on the screen of posts from San Diego State and Western Illinois that they've posted within the last week or so. I guess San Diego State was a while ago. But really simple graphics that just give people the information about their upcoming recruitment events. And so these graphics can be made really easily on apps like Canva or Adobe Spark. If you don't have any graphic design skills, there are apps out there that will allow you to create something eye-catching pretty simply. Personally, I recommend Canva. Some international fraternity uses it. We use it for a few of the graphics, not all of our graphics, but some of the graphics. We do a lot of the holiday graphics. I pull from Canva. It doesn't require any special graphic design programs to have on your computer. It is all web-based. There's templates. It's pretty plug and chug. You can change out colors, pictures, logos, however you see fit. It's really easy to do. Adobe Spark also has a lot of really great templates. It is, if you have the Adobe Creative Cloud platform, it's a part of that. So you do have to pay for that service to have Adobe Spark. But if a chapter member or the chapter does have an Adobe account, Adobe Spark is really easy to use as well. But I think that just having these graphics are really simple, really easy way to promote your events. If chapters want to dabble into video at all, you can use sites like Animoto or Motion Array. Animoto, like Canva, is all web-based. You don't really need any video skills. It is all web-based, plug and chug, templates, can change photos, colors, other videos out as you see fit. Motion Array does require a little bit more video skill. It has a ton of templates to choose from. You would download that template and then upload it into an existing video software that you have. So again, you have to have some sort of video skill to be able to use Motion Array, but if that is skill sets that members of your chapter has, Motion Array has a lot of really great templates that chapters can use to make their videos a little more eye-catching. I will say Canva does have a free version if chapters are interested in that. There is a paid version that offers a little bit more functionality, but it's not too expensive. But then the other ones that I've mentioned, Animoto, Motion Array, and Adobe Spark, do have subscription services. So just to kind of be aware of that. But great options if chapter members don't have any graphic design skills, that for a relatively low amount of money, in the grand scheme of things, you can come up with some really great graphics that way. The next thing, also really simple, is to post videos. Like, don't just stop about posting a promotional graphic. Actually show PNMs what your recruitment events look like. And take a photo while you're at that recruitment event and post about it in real time. This is super easy, but I think often neglected by chapters. It's a great way to give an inside glimpse of what the experience is like, and it humanizes your events as opposed to just that canned graphic design sort of graphic. And so these are photos from a couple chapters at tabling events this last year. Really great ways, as I said, to actually humanize and visualize what you're talking about when you talk about your recruitment events. The next item is to host some Q&As on your Instagram stories or Facebook stories. I think most undergraduates are probably on Instagram, so I would stick with Instagram stories, but again, you can try Facebook stories as well. So host a Q&A, and this can be a video or text-based story. I would recommend using video, but if not video, use pictures of a real person just to humanize it a little bit more. So ask for some questions or have some canned questions and have a person get on your Instagram story and record themselves answering those questions, talking about the DU experience, talking about what the recruitment experience is going to be like. I think sometimes we forget about talking about what recruitment is like, and we just expect potential members to know what that process and what that experience is going to be like, when really they don't have much of an idea what they're kind of getting into. So talking about DU, answering questions about the fraternity members of the chapter, and what that recruitment experience is going to be like. And then I recommend saving these Q&A stories to your Instagram highlights. So as you can see on this picture of the Western Ontario chapter, they've got a couple different highlights. They've got birthday shout outs, some philanthropy stuff, and then a recruitment highlight as well. So in your Instagram stories go away after 24 hours. If you add it to a highlight, those stay there for as long as they're in your story. So it's a really good way to save that content that you've created. And then if a potential member doesn't see that story in 24 hours or in real time, they can go back and they can find that on your page. And it's just a really great way to share any of your recruitment related posts into one spot. And so it would be all in from your stories that you would save there. Just a really great way to put everything in one spot, easy to find. And like I said, if people have missed it in that 24-hour window, they're still able to go back and find it. Another really easy way is to just highlight brothers on social media. I think why DU Wednesdays, we're starting to see that kind of come up more in the last year, but this also can include senior spotlights, associate member spotlights, and Brother of the Week spotlights as well. And so really just highlighting members, people join people, so putting faces with a name, sharing their story of why they love DU. It's going to give potential members an idea of the men and the organization that they're going to join. I think really sharing why you joined DU is really important. And on the screen, I've got another post from North Florida here. I think is a great post. I wish they would have used our brand colors a little bit better in it. It has a picture of the member and then has a quote from him of why he joined DU and why DU is important to him. So this is just a really great way to share information about your members, give people an understanding of the type of men and organization that they're going to join. And so you can post these sorts of things all year round. I recommend posting them all year round. But like I said, recruitment is 365. So potential members might see those throughout the year, but especially leading up into those recruitment weeks, maybe post a little bit more of these throughout that time as potential members are going to your page, looking for information, really ramping up some of these brother spotlights right before the recruitment time. In the last year, with health and safety being top concern, a lot of campuses canceled their traditional house tour days. And so house tour videos have become really essential for chapters in recruitment as they're trying to show potential members and their parents who weren't able to visit the chapter house in person, kind of what that experience living in the chapter house is going to be like, and just to provide them more information about the house. And so I think video house tours have been really important, and I think they'll continue to be important as we move forward. So on the screen, I have screenshots of two different recruitment videos from the last year, one from Iowa State, one from Kansas State, and I've included how you can find those videos on the internet. I will say that these two videos are really well produced and have some really fun features like drone footage and guys actually leading people on a house tour like they would in person. Your video does not need that. Whatever works in your budget or the skill set of your chapter members, as long as your house tour video shows the house in a positive way and shares the same type of information that you would share on an in-person house tour. So it can be one of these highly produced videos, or it can be simple photo slideshow with some text with information. It can be a short iPhone video. Those can be really effective as well. And so again, I think as long as these videos share the type of information that you would share in an in-person video, they're going to be really important as we move forward. You can share these on your social media, on your chapter's website, and you can even share these videos in any sort of emails that you might send out as well. And so the next thing I want to talk about is lead generation and lead conversion as we go into recruitment. So a little bit heavier than the what to post, what not to post conversation. But lead generation and recruitment is something that the fraternity is going to be addressing in upcoming recruitment workshops and coaching sessions as we move into the fall semester. And so I think oftentimes we see chapters sit back and let PNMs come to them. So we're given a list of guys who signed up for formal recruitment, or maybe we have a list of guys who signed up at one of our tabling events. But I don't know that we always do a great job at actively trying to find potential members. And then once we have people's names, what are we doing to kind of convert them into membership? So this is going to be a conversation that the fraternity is going to talk about a lot over the next couple months. But I think one of the first easy steps chapters can do is follow potential members on social media and engage with them. So if they get a list from the campus IFC or from their tabling events, go through, follow those guys on social media. Don't just email them and call them, follow them on social media and engage with them on social media. So like their posts, comment on things. If you're posting about a recruitment event, tag them in that post so that they see that recruitment event is coming up, or direct message them about this recruitment event, direct message them just to check in, see how things are going, really engage with them on social media, and not just rely on in-person interactions or email or maybe some phone calls or them showing up at your chapter house. Really use social media to engage and involve them. And some of this can come directly from the chapter's social media account, or you can break up the PNMs into groups and assign different members. Hey, you get these 10 guys, follow them on social media, engage with them, follow them, those sorts of things. This strategy has been really effective for the fraternity at our Purdue expansion this year. A lot of the guys that have joined the Purdue Associate chapter, we got via Instagram. So don't be afraid to follow PNMs and engage with them on this platform. The next thing I want to talk about is to piggyback on campus orientation, welcome week, and other admissions social media. So I think that this is something that we don't think about, but is really easy to do. So if we know that there is an event or an avenue that's going to be flooded with potential members and parents, we should be going to them, right? Like, this seems kind of like a no-brainer. So if your campus hosts student orientation sessions a few weeks every spring, chapter should be posting welcoming those people to campus, or commenting on any posts that the university might have welcoming these folks to campus. If we know that there's something going on that's going to have a lot of potential members and a lot of parents, we got to sneak in there and kind of get our name out there at the same time. And then make sure that you're following these interactions. You know, if you post your own post welcoming folks to campus orientations, monitor comments, like comments. If you've noticed people have liked the post, go back and follow them. A really great way to generate some leads. Even if these people don't join, at the end of the day, they're gonna see we're a group of polite, welcoming individuals, and who doesn't want that? But I think being able to piggyback on whether it's campus orientation things in the spring, welcome week activities as we move into the fall, or any other social media that the admissions department is doing, kind of piggyback on those as well. And kind of going on that, as I mentioned earlier, utilizing popular campus hashtags. And so if it's hashtag Boiler Up, hashtag Mizzou, what have you, follow those. But a lot of campuses now are really relying on social media during acceptance times. And so they're telling students that they're accepting into the university. They're giving them little banners, pennants, and telling them, hey, utilize this hashtag when you post about being accepted into the university. Follow those hashtags. We might find potential members through there. Follow those hashtags, then follow some of those guys, or comment, you know, hey, so excited that you're going to join campus. We love it here. You know, whatever. Just utilize those sorts of hashtags. Follow them. Like I said, follow those hashtags and then follow people who are there. But then on the flip side of that, utilize those hashtags and stuff that you're using as well. Because again, as people who are interested in your university are looking at those hashtags, they're going to find content that you're posting as well. Another really easy things to do is to ask members to share your posts, utilize their network to get your information across. And so that can be as simple. You can even say, hey, we're going to post this on Thursday. We need you to go and share it. So asking your members to share your post, again, it's just going to broaden your reach, utilize their network. And I wanted to talk about social media ads just for a little bit. That is another avenue that we can use for some lead generation on social media. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about Facebook and Instagram ads because I know that there is cost associated with it, and not all chapters have that in their budget, and that is totally fine. Whatever your chapter feels comfortable doing, if they don't want to do it, that's fine moving forward as well, but just want to touch on it a little bit. I do know that the NIC over the next year, they're going to be doing some big targeted social media ad campaigns for just fraternity membership as a whole, and helping IFCs do some Instagram ads to beef up the number of people that are going to apply to go through recruitment once they get onto campus in the fall. So it's probably going to be something that you're going to see from the NIC and maybe your IFCs moving forward, something chapters can do as well. So just want to talk about it briefly. To create a Facebook or Instagram ad, you just go to business.facebook.com. So not the normal facebook.com website, but the special business.facebook.com to create your ads through there. You can create a couple different audiences. You can upload an email list. So if you get a list from the campus IFC of people who have signed up for recruitment, you can upload that list into Facebook and tell it to target those specific individuals with either a Facebook or an Instagram ad. You can upload a list of your current chapter members, and Facebook is pretty creepy in some of the things that it knows. You can upload a list of your members and you can tell Facebook, hey, find these guys' accounts and then send an advertisement to people who are like these guys. So from the same hometowns, like the same sorts of accounts, are engaging the same sort of content. You can create kind of a lookalike list and tell Facebook to target people who look like and act like the members that you already have. You can also create lists based on demographics. So the picture on the screen is an advertisement we did for the Purdue expansion this fall or this spring. And you create a lookalike or create an audience based on demographics. So we said, hey, target this ad to anyone within 20 miles of West Lafayette, Indiana, who is a male between the ages of 18 and 23, and then they like Purdue University. And you can do a handful of different things just based on demographics as well. So even if you know, we're from Kansas State and we know that we've got a lot of folks who are from the Kansas City area that end up coming to campus, you can target Kansas City if you know that is from the university standpoint where they pull a lot of students. You can target people based on those kind of demographics as well. Lots of different things that you can do. And like I said, it's kind of crazy all of the things that Facebook knows and can find out and help you target people that way. But then you just kind of upload your design and hopefully it's visually appealing, and then have it direct to an existing website or a membership referral form if you have one of those. And then just set your budget and for how long you want the Instagram ad to run. And you don't have to spend a ton of money if you don't want to on a Facebook or Instagram ad. For this ad that we did for Purdue, we put in $100. So you could start with as little or as much as you want and just kind of see what happens and see where it goes, and maybe spend more or less based on how that first ad performed. Again, not something that chapters need to do, but it is an option if you're interested in it. And like I said, I know that the NIC and possibly some IFCs are going to get more into Instagram advertising moving forward, just to get people interested in fraternity recruitment in general. So hopefully that trickles down to DU. The more guys who sign up for IFC recruitment is going to be better for us in the long run as well. The next kind of section that I want to talk about in terms of best practice is philanthropy. In the last year, again, a lot of our philanthropy events have been canceled, and so we've kind of moved to virtual formats to do some of our fundraising. And so really, if you're going to do any sort of online fundraising, whether that's through social media or not, you need some sort of an online giving form. And so I want to talk about those quickly. You can create those forms via sites like FormStack or Wufoo for little to no cost. I will say that Delta Upsilon, the international fraternity, we have used Wufoo in the past for some of our foundation giving forms, and we still use them for educational program registration. So we track that registration and collect those payments all through this form. And so FormStack has a similar functionality to that, but we do use Wufoo at the international fraternity level. I think the good thing about these forms is that they're easy to set up, they're secure, and they utilize a third-party payment processors like Stripe or Authorize.net, PayPal, or Square. So if your chapter already uses a Square reader for any in-person philanthropy events, this would be really easy to set up because you've already got that Square account set up. So these third-party processors, you're going to create an account with them, link your bank account info to it, and then Wufoo and Formstack would connect to this third-party processor and help you collect those payments there. I will say Venmo is an option, and I'm going to talk about some popular bingo cards that have been going on for the last year on Instagram in a minute. But Venmo is an option to collect payments, but I do want to kind of caution about these a little bit. I will say it's probably the most convenient way to collect some donations, especially via social media. Most students probably already have a Venmo account. It's already set up to their bank. They don't have to, put in credit card information or anything like that. They just go into their Venmo, say, hey, I'm going to send $10 to Tom and move forward. It's really easy, but I will caution about it just in that there's a little less accountability if we're using Venmo for things. While I wouldn't hope that this would happen, but you could end up with a chapter member who's not giving all of those donations back to the chapter. There's no way to really track, no great way to track who's given you money unless that person's Venmo, they're going in and they're creating a separate spreadsheet of making a list of who's all given to them. And there's not like a thank you mechanism through Venmo. I will say it is an option. It's very easy, but just do want to caution that there's a little bit of risk involved in using Venmo. Facebook and Instagram also have options for you to create giving pages. So those are options too. They're really easy to put together, secure. The only thing that I will say is that their credit card processing fees tend to be pretty high, so higher than what you would see through Formstack or Wufoo. So if you're collecting donations, you're just going to see a little bit less of it come into your bank account because those processing fees are going to be higher. So again, those are an option, but like I said, processing fees are higher than you would find elsewhere. And then do want to note that when it comes to GSI fundraising, the DU Educational Foundation can set up giving forms for chapters if you ask for GSI. And so the good thing about these forms is they will automatically route funds to the foundation. And so it takes away that step of the chapters then having to submit that money to the foundation at the end of the year. The giving form's just going straight to the foundation anyway. We can track those gifts. We can share the information with the chapters on who's given through those forms, those sorts of things. So do want to point out that if you're interested in some GSI fundraising forms, you can talk to the foundation and they can help you set up a form through them for that. As I mentioned a minute ago, these bingo cards have been a really popular form of social media fundraising for the last year. And so on the screen, there's a picture of Western Reserve chapter just posted one in the last week or so. So basically what these bingo cards are is there's a grid that they put together and then they put different dollar amounts in the different grids, and then they post the bingo card to their Instagram story or feed and ask people to pick a square, donate that much money, and then hopefully their card gets filled up by the end of the fundraiser. I've not seen there be any sort of prize or reward for filling a bingo card or being the one to complete a row. It's just a fun, easy way to fundraise some money through social media. You just, like I said, have members pick a square, donate that much money, and then as it goes on, chapters should be updating their cards, crossing out the rows, those grids that have been donated for so far, and again, just filling those up. I will say I like this Western Reserve graphic because it does use a picture of the guys at GSI, and then this was on their feed, and it gave some information about the Global Service Initiative as well. This is one of those fundraisers where people have been using Venmo accounts. And again, using Venmo is fine. Like I said, just a little bit more risk involved in those. So usually it's the Philanthropy Chair's Venmo. So they put this on their Instagram story and then it just says Venmo and then whatever that person's Venmo handle is. So usually then the money all goes to whoever the philanthropy chair is, and then that philanthropy chair sends that money onto the chapter. This would be really easy to do with an online giving form as well. And so instead of using Venmo, you can put on there, send money to, and then put the URL, or put it in your link in bio and direct them to the link in bio to a payment form there. Easy to do it with either Venmo or a giving form. There are also some free URL shorteners on the website. So if your giving form ends up having a really long, really crazy kind of random URL, you can find some online URL shorteners on the internet. So you can make that shorter, customizable if you'd like to as well, to make that URL a little easier to remember. Last area that I want to talk about is just campus engagement and how to engage with our campuses a little bit better through social media throughout the year. And so this is really something that chapters should have been doing all along. But however, we've seen in the last year really the need to engage with others on campus more through social media, since we've not been able to have these in-person events. And so this is a really easy way moving forward for chapters to build connections and build a brand on campus through social media. And as I said, with the commenting on university admissions posts, the more we can show people we are being nice and being polite and being engaging, the better. So some easy ways to engage with others on campus: simply follow all the other fraternities and sororities on campus. A lot of times especially with fraternities, we kind of have a little competitive nature there, but follow them, like the posts that they're doing, follow them, like their posts, comment on things, share their content. So, if Kappa Alpha Theta is having an event, a philanthropy event next week, you can reshare their post. It could kind of help them out as well. But just again, showing that we're polite, we're engaged, we're involved, is great. Follow other organizations on campus as well. So that could be groups that DU is involved with, or groups that match DU's principles. So if there's an Amnesty International group on campus, follow them. If you want to follow any sort of DEI organization on campus, follow them. Just show that DDU is interested, show that we're supportive of those groups as well. So if we've got a lot of guys involved in Dance Marathon, make sure we're following the Dance Marathon account. If we've got a lot of guys who are on the football team, follow the football account, those sorts of things. And like I said, not just follow those accounts, but really engage with them. Like, comment, share content as necessary, especially with those accounts that would match DU principles. If they've got a post and the message in that post is really strong and it really resonates with what we believe as a fraternity as well, share that. Definitely cross-post some stuff through that way. Other content ideas: Founders Day posts, so both chapter and international Founders Days. So if it's the Pi Phi chapter on campus and their chapter Founders Day is this day, make a post recognizing that. April 28th is Pi Phi's International Founders Day. You can make a post for that as well. The international fraternity, lately we have been doing Founders Day posts for NPC and NIC groups. So those are easy to screenshot and share in your accounts there, just to give some other groups on campus some love on their special days. As I said before, promote other people's events. If it's a sorority doing an event, share their promotional posts, and then post pictures of your chapters while you're there. So if you actually go to the philanthropy event, show pictures of your guys there, let people know that you actually showed up and that you were there and that you're participating and that you are being engaged and involved in that sort of capacity. Congratulations posts are really great as well. So if another group on campus recently won an award from their international headquarters, congratulate them. It can be a separate post. You can comment on or like their post when they talk about it, but congratulate other groups. And then, as I said, share photos of DUs being involved and being engaged with others. So if there's a brother who's doing some volunteer work with a different organization on campus, post about it. Show that DU is being involved and being engaged in those ways. that's kind of the main things I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, lots of chapters have been doing some really great things in the last year on social media as we've not been able to meet in person, and moving forward, so much of this is going to be helpful to supplement our in-person things as we move forward. So hopefully I don't see some of these things chapters have been doing going away as we move forward back into in-person events. A lot of the stuff that we've been doing is going to really help supplement the in-person things that we're doing. And there's some really easy, fun ways to get involved, engage with others on social media. So if you have any questions, let me know. My direct email is on the screen, amartin@deltau.org. I got married a few years ago, so Schowengerdt is my new last name, but I did not change my email because I didn't think people would know how to spell that. So amartin@deltau.org, or you can email us at socialmedia@deltau.org as well. We do have a new staff member starting middle of May, and they will be taking over social media. So you'll be able to reach that person just through socialmedia@deltau.org. And if you don't already, follow DU on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Flickr at Delta Upsilon. So if you're unfamiliar with Flickr or didn't know that DU has a Flickr account, it is just a photo sharing website. So after any big educational program, whether that's LI, leadership, RLA, President's Academy, GSI, we upload all of our photos from our events there. So that's a really easy, great resource for chapters to use. They can go to the Flickr account, find photos, download it, and use it in the stuff that they're putting together for their social media or brochures or website or whatever. So just a great photo compository from DU events. And we're also on YouTube at Delta Upsilon Media on YouTube. So if you haven't found them already, all of the advisors webinars are shared there. Videos that we show at LI are all shared to our YouTube account. So lots of good information, good videos on our YouTube account as well. And someone asked if we can get copies of the presentation. Yes, as I just said, all of the videos are shared to our YouTube account. And so probably in the next day or so, I'll get that uploaded there. And then you can find all past advisors webinars on the website as well under the advisor resources tab on the website as well. If there's no other questions, I thank you for joining us today. And as I said, if you've got any questions, just let me know and have a great rest of the day.